All right, so today we're going to really dive deep into Trevor Noah's Born a Crime.
Okay.
And you know him as like this, you know, comedian and Daily Show host.
Right.
But
Yeah.
this book is so much more than just a celebrity memoir. It really is.
Yeah.
It's like South African history, race identity,
Hmm.
and like how laughter can be this survival tool.
Yeah.
And it's powerful stuff.
What's really striking is how Noah uses his own life, like literally being born a crime under apartheid,
Yeah.
to illuminate this period of intense racial segregation.
That title is not a gimmick. It
Yeah.
really cuts to the core of what the book is about.
Exactly.
And it really hits you when he talks about these like everyday absurdities, like
Yeah.
his mom having to walk behind him in public
Yeah.
because being seen together was illegal. How
Yeah.
crazy is that?
It's a stark example of how these apartheid laws just sought to dehumanize people based purely on race.
Based purely on race and
Yeah.
and it's just mind-boggling.
It is, but what's interesting is how Noah uses humor to expose this dehumanization.
Totally. Like when he talks about stealing cars with his friends.
Right.
But get this, they weren't even selling the cars. They were just joyriding.
Yeah.
And making sure to fill up the tank before they returned them.
That story is hilarious, but it also reveals a deeper truth
Yeah.
about living under such oppression. You know, humor becomes this coping mechanism,
Right.
a way to reclaim a sense of agency in a system designed to strip you of it.
It's like laughing in the face of absurdity, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's another layer to it too, maybe even a way of like processing trauma
Right.
that would be too overwhelming to confront directly.
That's a great point. It's important to remember that while Born a Crime is full of humor,
Yeah.
it's not just a lighthearted romp. It
Yeah.
delves into these really complex issues.
Absolutely.
Race and identity.
And that's where things get even more interesting.
Yeah.
When he talks about how like even after apartheid ended, he was still categorized as colored.
Right.
Despite being mixed race, it makes you realize how arbitrary these racial labels can be.
Absolutely. It challenges the idea that race is this fixed and easily definable thing.
Yeah, and for listeners who may not be familiar with South African history,
Right.
colored was a racial classification used during apartheid
Right.
to denote people of mixed racial ancestry,
Yes, further complicating an already complex system.
which makes Noah's experiences all the more powerful.
Exactly.
He's navigating these shifting categories while trying to figure out where he belongs.
Yeah.
And speaking of powerful figures, we have to talk about Patricia, his mom.
Oh, yes.
She is seriously amazing. She's independent. She defies expectations.
She does.
She has a wicked sense of humor, like joking with doctors after being shot by Noah's stepfather.
I know her reaction to that event is almost unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
It really speaks volumes about her resilience.
Yeah,
But it also goes back to this idea of humor as a survival tactic.
absolutely.
Patricia is definitely a complex character, both flawed and heroic,
Yeah,
which makes her relatable and inspiring.
she's the heart of the story for sure.
She is.
Her relationship with Noah, the way she fought for him, it's really the backbone of the book.
Yeah.
But there's another aspect of his life that I found fascinating.
Okay.
His multilingualism.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't just speak a bunch of languages.
Right.
He embodies code switching to navigate this divided world.
It's amazing.
That's got to be tough.
Imagine the mental agility required to shift between languages and constantly adapting to different social contexts.
Right.
It highlights the idea that language can be this really powerful tool, not just for communication, but for survival and belonging.
Exactly. And it makes me think about how, even today,
Yeah.
so many people code switch in different environments, whether it's at work or with family or even online.
Right.
It makes you wonder, does code switching help us connect?
Yeah.
Or does it force us to hide parts of ourselves?
That's a profound question.
It is.
It speaks to the deeper complexities of identity and the choices we make to navigate different social spaces.
Yeah. And Noah's story provides a powerful lens through which to explore those questions.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things that really stood out in the review we read
Yeah.
was how Noah's personal story becomes this window into understanding the legacy of apartheid.
It does.
It's not just his story, it's a reflection of a whole society
Exactly.
struggling with these incredibly difficult issues.
That's what makes Born a Crime so impactful.
Yeah.
He's not just sharing anecdotes, he's giving us a glimpse into the human cost of a brutal system,
Right.
but he's also showing us the resilience of the human spirit
Yeah.
and how humor can be a powerful weapon against oppression.
And that resilience is something I think everyone can connect with.
And I agree.
No matter what challenges we face, There's always a way to find strength,
Yeah,
to find hope,
right.
and maybe even to find a reason to laugh along the way.
And that's a message that transcends borders and cultures. It does.
Yeah,
It speaks to the universality of the human
it
experience
does
and the
too.
power of storytelling to connect us across divides.
Love
Yeah,
that.
me too. And that's where the real power of storytelling comes in. It's not just about recounting events.
Right.
It's about sharing experiences that resonate on a deeper level.
You're right. Noah doesn't just tell us about apartheid.
Yeah,
He makes us feel it.
exactly.
Like we're right there with him navigating the craziness and injustice of it all.
Precisely. And it's through those like visceral experiences, both humorous and heartbreaking,
Yeah.
that we connect with the history on a personal level.
Right.
It's not just dates and facts. It's
Yeah.
about the human impact.
And that's something I think a lot of historical accounts miss.
I do.
They focus on the big picture, but forget about the individual lives
Right.
caught in the crossfire.
Exactly.
But with Born a Crime, you get both.
You do.
You get the historical context
Yeah.
and the intensely personal perspective.
Which makes it all the more engaging and thought-provoking.
It really is.
It's like he's holding up a mirror to society, forcing us to confront these uncomfortable truths of the past.
And maybe even see how those truths are still relevant today.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about the conversations we're having now about race identity and social justice.
Right.
They echo a lot of the themes Noah explores in the book.
Absolutely. His story serves as a reminder that progress is often slow and painful,
Yeah.
but that the fight for equality is always worth it.
It's inspiring, for sure.
It is.
But it also makes you realize how much work we still have to do
Yeah.
to create a truly just and equitable world.
And that's why books like Born a Crime are so important.
Yeah.
They challenge us to think critically,
Right.
to question our assumptions,
Absolutely.
to engage in these meaningful conversations about the issues that matter.
Speaking of challenging assumptions,
Yes.
one thing that really stuck with me was how Noah describes code switching between languages.
Right.
It wasn't just a way to communicate.
No.
It was a survival tactic,
It was.
a way to blend in and avoid trouble.
It's fascinating how he navigates these linguistic landscapes, shifting seamlessly between languages depending on the social context.
He talks about growing up speaking English, Afrikaans, Zulu Xhosa,
Wow.
and even some German.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
It highlights the incredible diversity of South Africa,
Yeah.
but it also speaks to the ways in which language can be both a unifying and a divisive force.
Right. On one hand, apartheid enforced the use of Africans
Yes.
in schools and government institutions,
Right.
using language as a tool to further segregate society.
You control people.
But on the other hand, you have people like Noah
Right.
using their multilingualism to connect with others across racial and cultural lines.
It's a testament to the adaptability and resilience of the human spirit.
It is.
Even in the face of oppression, people find ways to resist, to connect, and to create their own sense of community.
And it makes me wonder, is code switching ultimately empowering?
That's a great question.
Or does it perpetuate a sense of division?
And I don't think there's a simple answer. It probably varies depending on the context. For some, code switching can be a way to fit in, to gain access to opportunities, or to avoid conflict.
Right.
But for others, it might feel like having to suppress part of their identity,
Yeah.
to conform to societal expectations, like they're constantly performing different versions of themselves.
Well, exactly.
And that can be emotionally draining and even lead to feelings of alienation.
For sure.
But what's important is that we recognize the complexities of code switching
Right.
and avoid making judgments about individual choices.
You know, we've talked a lot about the serious stuff,
We have.
but we can't forget about the humor that permeates the entire book.
Right.
Noah's comedic voice is just brilliant.
It is.
He finds humor in even the darkest situations.
He does.
And it's not just for laughs. There's a deeper purpose there.
There is. It's a way to cope with trauma, to find light in the darkness.
Yeah.
And to reclaim a sense of power in a situation that feels powerless.
Like when he talks about his stepfather, Abel,
Right.
who was abusive and controlling.
Yeah,
He uses humor to deflect from the pain,
he does.
but also to expose Abel's hypocrisy and ridiculousness.
It's a brilliant example of how humor can be used as a weapon against oppression.
Yeah.
It allows you to expose the absurdity of the situation while also maintaining a sense of dignity and self-worth.
It's like saying you might try to control me, but you can't break my spirit.
Exactly. And that's a message that resonates deeply, especially for those who have experienced similar forms of oppression.
Right?
It reminds us that even in the face of adversity, we have the power to find moments of joy
Yeah.
and to resist attempts to dehumanize us.
And it makes you realize that humor is more than just entertainment.
It is.
It's a coping mechanism, a form of resistance,
Yes.
and even a tool for social commentary.
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
Absolutely. And in the hands of a skilled storyteller like Trevor Noah,
Yeah.
it becomes a force for change, challenging our perceptions and encouraging us to see the world in new ways.
Oh, I don't want to give away too much of the book.
Right.
But there's one more element I think is worth highlighting. Noah's relationship with his mother, Patricia.
Yeah.
It's really the emotional core of the story.
It is. Their bond is incredible.
It is.
She's his rock, his protector, and his biggest supporter.
Yeah.
Even when he's making questionable choices, she's always there for him.
Like when he gets into trouble for selling pirated CDs, she doesn't condone his actions,
Of course not.
but she helps him understand the consequences
Yeah.
and supports him through the ordeal.
It's a testament to the power of unconditional love
It is.
and the importance of having someone who believes in you even when you mess up.
And their relationship also highlights the complexities of family dynamics,
It does.
especially in a society as fractured as apartheid-era South Africa.
Right.
Patricia is a devout Christian,
Yeah.
while Noah questions his faith and ultimately embraces atheism.
Right.
Yet their love for each other transcends these differences.
That's such an important point. Born a Crime isn't just about race and politics. It's also a deeply personal story about family love and the search for identity.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes it so universally relatable.
I agree. It's a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and injustice,
Yeah.
human connection is what sustains us.
It is.
It's what gives us hope and helps us navigate the complexities of life.
And that's a message that resonates deeply no matter who you are or where you come from.
So we've covered a lot of ground here: apartheid, race, language, humor, family.
We have.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle we need to explore:
Okay.
the power of storytelling itself.
Yes.
What makes Noah's story so compelling, so impactful?
I think it's the honesty and vulnerability he brings to his writing.
Yeah.
He doesn't shy away from sharing his flaws, his mistakes, and his moments of weakness.
Right.
It makes him relatable, even when his experiences are so far removed from our own.
And he manages to do all of that
He does.
while still maintaining a sense of hope and optimism.
That's right.
Even when he's describing the horrors of apartheid, there's a glimmer of light shining through.
There is.
It's like he's saying, yes, the world is a messed up place,
Yeah.
but we can still find beauty and joy in the midst of it all.
And that's a powerful message, especially in today's world,
It is.
which often feels overwhelming and bleak. Born a Crime reminds us that even in the darkest of times,
Yeah.
the human spirit can endure and even thrive.
And that stories have the power to connect us, to inspire us,
They do?
and to ultimately make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Wow, we've really gone deep into Born a Crime, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
From apartheid's craziness to the power of laughter, Patricia's strength,
Yeah.
and how language can be both a weapon and a bridge.
It's all there.
But, here's the question I always find myself asking, what does it all mean for, you, the listener?
That's the heart of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
What I find fascinating is that Born a Crime is so rooted in a specific time and place, apartheid-era South Africa.
Yeah.
But it speaks to these universal truths
It does.
that go way beyond borders and cultures.
It's almost like Noah is holding up this mirror to humanity,
Yeah.
showing us our good side and our bad side all at once.
Right.
Our capacity for both, incredible cruelty and amazing compassion.
Exactly. And by being so open about his own life,
Yeah.
he encourages us to examine our own biases and assumptions.
Yeah.
How we see ourselves, how we see others,
Yeah.
how we categorize the world around us.
It's a real call to critical thinking.
It is.
And it makes you realize that these conversations about race and identity,
Yeah.
they're not just happening in some far-off place.
Right.
They're relevant to all of us,
They are.
no matter where we come from or what our background is.
Born a Crime isn't just a memoir or a history lesson.
Right.
It's an invitation to engage in those conversations, to
Right.
challenge the status quo, and to recognize the power of personal stories to spark change.
Totally.
Think about one person's experiences shared honestly and with humor
Yeah.
can ripple outwards and shift perspectives on a global scale.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave you with a few questions to ponder. What truths from Noah's story really hit home for you?
Yeah.
Did any of his experiences challenge your own assumptions?
Good question.
And how can you apply those insights to your own life, to your community,
Right.
even to your understanding of the world around you?
Those are the questions worth wrestling with.
They are.
Because in the end, the power of a story like Born a Crime isn't just in the reading, it's in the reflection and action it inspires.
I think that's the perfect way to end this deep dive.
Yeah, I agree.